Got it. The remaining part of lesson 8 is not difficult at all. It's just some things that we need to go over, some new words and definitions that you haven't seen before that you'll see today. And it'll make sense to us when we get started. So let's see here. I'm gonna share my screen. And here we go. All right, so where we left off was page number 64. Okay, I'm gonna make it huge. All right, so now we're gonna be dealing with these terms called this and these, okay? So the Hebrew words for this and these are, and they give us a list here, there's ze, zoth, and ele, okay? Ze, zoth, ele. One of the ways that you can remember this is simply when you say ze, I'll say ze, you say masculine, okay? Ze.
Masculine.
Okay. And I say masculine, you say what?
Ze.
They. Okay. So now we got to put a picture in your head because it's hard because we've never seen this before. Okay. That is a Z right here. That's a Zion. And these little dots right here is the EH. And then the here. So just ze. Okay. So ze. Ze. Okay. So ze. So ze is a little stronger, excuse me, than it is for the next one, which it would be this one, a Z-O-T-H. Okay, so this is masculine, this is feminine. So how do you say feminine?
Zoth.
Zoth. So you guys see what I just did? I transliterated, I just took the Hebrew letters and I put them in English. That's all. And that's how it's going to be quick for you to remember. Okay. So ze and zoth, they both mean the same thing. This, but it has to do with the singularity. Okay. So in our lesson today, you're always going to deal with masculine, feminine, and you're going to deal with singular, or it's going to be plural. That's it. It's always going to be that masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. You're talking to one individual or you're talking to many. So it's pretty simple. Okay. So zezoth, and then the last one is called ele. Okay. Ele. And I'm going to give you a little test on it. Ele. This A is these two dots, A, and then le. Ele. Ele. Say it. Ele.
Ele.
Ele. So the A right here, just put an S in front of it. It'll be sele or dele. It doesn't matter. Those little dots right there represent A, as in say, day, te, whatever. Once you understand it and you accept this, you'll be like, okay, the aleph is silent. Those two dots is an A sound. I'm gonna put this as an L, got a dot in it. So that means make two of them. And then I got an E, H, and then I got another H. Okay. Ele. Ele. Okay, so ele. And once you learn how to do that, when you're doing your study, you'll be fine. Transliterate and put it in English and watch what happens. You'll be like, oh, this is easy. So ze, zoth, and ele. Okay. Ele is these. These, and it's for plurality. These. Now, when we say these terms, this and these, that means that you're pointing a finger. You're pointing a finger at something, okay? Like this chair, this book, these tables, when they're having a conversation. So when you see these words, it's talking about a direct object marker. You're literally pointing, okay? Like these, this means singular. These is plural, simple, okay? But what they want us to know in part number 2 here is that when we have these words, ze and zoth and ele, they have to be treated like they're adjectives. So they're describing, okay, the noun. But they also have to agree with the noun. So what does it mean? It means if the book is singular, okay, this book would be one book. So if it was this book, it'd be hasaper haze, okay? But there's something that they wanted us to know. They always put this hey right here in front of them. So it goes from being regular zay to haze. Okay. And the reason for that is because it's a direct object marker. The letter hey means the or the. Okay. And it's literally saying I'm pointing directly. This hey right here is pointing directly to what it's talking about, the book. Okay. And so if I got a hey on a noun, I'm gonna have to put a hey on this zay. Or if I had an adjective, remember early in the lesson, it says if you wanted to say the man, the good man, you'd have to put a hey on front of the ha'ish, hatov. Okay, it has to match. Okay, so and then if you want to refresh yourself with that, they tell you to look at page number 60 to let you know how it's supposed to agree. Okay, so if it's masculine, then you have to use the masculine this, which is zay. If it's feminine, you have to use the zoth. Okay, but if you're talking about something that is the or ha safer, the book, then your zay or your zoth has to become ha. And they're going to give us some examples. And of course, you'll get this. But the point that I wanted to make to all of us is that the hey is just identifying it to say, look at this one right here, you know. Here we go, 2. Read that to me. Read number 2 for me in Hebrew.
Aisha.
Yeah, Haisha.
They
Hazoth.
Hazoth. Haisha Hazoth. Now, the reason why it's not regular zoth by itself is because they put this hey right here, which is a direct object marker. Okay. It's called a direct object marker. Okay. It's just like the aleph and the tav. That's a direct object marker. The hey on front of a word is a direct object marker. Okay. So this is the reason why they're doing this, because it has to agree. Okay. So if there was no ha-isha, and it was just isha, it'll be isha zoth. But it's not. It's ha-isha. So if there's a ha here on the noun, that's a noun, then this right here would have to be hazoth, because this is describing, right, the noun. You got to treat it like an adjective. It's describing which person, this woman. Okay, the next one is what? How do you say the next one?
Susim.
Ale.
Ha'ele. Ha'ele. Okay, so the ha is, there you go. They're giving us examples because they're saying these. So now it went from, zoth. Now it went to ele. That's what it went to, ele. I should have put that right here. Ele, okay? Zoth ele, right? So, ha, susim. Tell me about the horses. Are they masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
How do you know it's masculine?
With the M.
There you go. There's your piece right there that told you what it is, okay? What's the direct object markers on this sentence here? What letter?
The hey.
The hey. Don't worry about the vowel right under. It's like this, and then this other one is like this. They're going to get into this later and tell you what that means. Well, we know that the sus is a horse, and we know the im is plural, and we know it's masculine. Okay, but this ele here, these, means that it's not. It could be either masculine or feminine, as we saw earlier up here in our lesson. That zoth, or excuse me, zay and zoth. This is masculine, that's feminine, and then the ele right here can either be masculine, both masculine and feminine. But since it's describing the hasusim, then we know that the M on there is describing masculine horses. You see? Because you're talking about these. So the these versus this, these are plural. You're talking about more than one. That's why we have the ha susim. So we got the plurality there. Now it's going to tell us what's the next one on number 4.
Asuso.
Hasusoth, what?
Ele.
Ha ele. Remember, all you got to say is ha. Ha, and then say the next word. Ele. Okay. Le. That's all you got to say. So keep it separate so you'll know what you're hearing. If you try to put it all together, then you're gonna merge your pieces together, and you won't be able to decipher it and know what it's talking about. So when I look at something, the first thing I do is like, okay, what's the first letter? I say, oh, that got a hey on it. Okay, that's the direct object marker. And then I say, oh, that's the isha. So I know that's a female. And then I know now that this is matching this one because it has to. And that's zoth. Oh, that's zoth right there. So zoth, oath. Oh, that's feminine. That's feminine singular. Okay, so it's just knowing the pieces. What did I just put up here? What is this? Masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
What's this? Masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
See? So zoth is going to be ze and zoth. So anytime you're describing something feminine, it's always going to be zoth. And if it's plural for feminine, it still will be ha'ele. So they share the same these. They just can't share the singular. Okay? That's all. That's how easy this is. Number 3, if you want to say this is a book, okay? Not this book, but this is a book, or these are the men. We know from our last lesson that what? There is no is, and there is no are in the Hebrew, and there is no letter for a. So a lot of this is what? Implied. So, but they're going to tell us how to say it. So let's look at the rules, because these are nothing but rules to the game. So they say here that, etc. We put the words ze, zoth, and ele before the noun, and they do not have a hey on the front of it. So it's not a direct object marker. Okay, because this is a book. This is not the book. This is a book. Okay. So how do we say this is a book?
Ze. Sukra.
Ze, safer. Safer. Yep, that's the safer right there. Okay. That's how you say this is a book. If I wanted the book, what would I put in front of the sefer?
Ha.
I put that ha right there. So then this over here would have to match that. It'd be the haze, ha sefer. Okay. Is this masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Okay. And so this has to match the noun. This is the noun. So is this noun masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
It's masculine. Okay. So oftentimes you'd ask yourself, well, how do I know a noun is masculine or feminine? And they're going to tell us if it's feminine, what would it have on the end of it?
A hey.
It'd have this hey like this. It'd have a ah. Okay. That's what it will have. If it's not feminine, and it'll be just by itself, like there. Okay. So the next one, how do you say that?
Zo.
Uh-huh.
A.
So in your
nation.
mind, yeah. So when you see it goes Z and then, okay, that's a O. Okay. And then I got a TH. Okay. So that's Zoth. Okay. That's good. I know that's feminine. And then another reason why I know it's feminine is because of this. Because I know what that noun is. That's Isha. Okay. Isha. So there's a Isha, Zoth Isha. Meaning what? This is a woman. This is a woman. This could be both masculine or feminine. It doesn't matter. But what is it? Is it singular or plural?
Plural.
It's plural. Is this singular or plural?
Singular.
Singular. How about this one?
Singular.
Singular.
Thank you. Because it's describing a book. if I want to describe more than that, I would have an im right here to make it safarim, because it's plural, it's male, masculine. And then, of course, it'd be this books. No, I'd have to change this ze to what? If it's plural.
You have to go with the ele.
Ele. I'll put that ele right there. Got it? That's how you do it. And that's all it is. And this is just practice. That's all it is. Because you're going to see this a lot. Okay. So basically, as we've learned before, and so that's the ha anashim. Okay. So ha anashim. Ha, the, and then here's the mem, the min. Okay. Ha anashim. You know it's masculine because it has this im on the end. So just focus on the pieces of the puzzle. And if you know your vocab, you'll be like, oh, okay, I know what that is. So again, anytime you look at a word, the first thing you want to start doing is dissecting the word in your brain. That's how I'm going to dissect that. Then I know that's an im. That's anash, which could be enosh, depending on how you pronounce it. From your studies, you would know, oh, that's min, okay, or min or man. And this right here is an im. That tells me that's masculine, and that's a plural. And I know that if that's plural, then this has to be plural because they have to match. So what it is when you put your pieces together, you can't put a singular piece with a plural noun. You can't put a plural noun with a singular piece like a ze or a zo. You have to put the ele on it. And these are the only three that you have to learn. That's it. But you got to know how they work. Okay. So it says see page C13, rule number 13, page 54. And it says where we explain that is and are or et cetera are implied, which that's on page number 54 that we talked about in your previous lesson. Here we are again. Now we're not talking about these, and we're not talking about, we're not talking about these, and we're not talking about this. Now we're talking about that and those. But guess what? There still are. They're still masculine and they're still feminine. They're still singular and they're still plural. Okay. Again, the name of the game is you got to know if it's masculine or feminine. That's all you got to keep thinking. Is this masculine or feminine? Is this singular or plural? As soon as you get that in your mind, you're good. You'll be like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, I know what that ending is. Oh, that's a plural. Oh, I know what that plural's that ending is plural, but it's also masculine because of the letters they have. Oh, that's singular because that has an ah on it. Oh, okay. So if you know your pieces, it'll all work out. So we have seen that if we want to say this or these, in Hebrew, we use the word ze, zot, and ele. Ze, zot, ele. Ele, zot, ze. Okay. Depending on whether the noun is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. Pretty straightforward. Now we're going to look at how we say that book or those chairs. Okay. Again, once again, there are different words that are used for masculine and feminine and singular and plural. So they want us to take a look at that. So now they switched the game up now. Because we're not talking about this. We're talking about that now. Okay. Not this, but that. Okay. That one. Okay. You say, well, this, you could be like, this one. If I said that one, I'll be pointing somewhere. It has to do with direction. It has to do with if it's in front of you. Just got to wrap your mind around that. So that is hahu. And that has to do with the masculine. That's how you say that. Ha, that's right there. And then who? H-U. Ha-hu. 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 Okay. Somebody tell me, how do you say the feminine for that? Singular. How do you say that? Ha. Uh-huh.
Ha-he.
There you go. Ha-he. Okay. Ha-he. Okay. Like hit or hip. I got that. A lot of times we used to say this, but we know that's not right. It's not ha-he, it's ha-he. Ha-he. Okay, so ha-he. Ha-he. And this one up here is ha, hu. Okay. And that is the masculine. And this one right here is the feminine. That's what it is. Okay. How do you say those in masculine?
Aham.
Ha, 2 dots is an A sound with an M on it. So ha what? Ha, aim. Ha, aim. Look, I'm sorry. Ha, aim. Forgive me. I thought I was looking at something else. Ha, aim. Ha, aim. Ha, aim. Okay. And that is masculine, plural. Okay. How do I say those for female? So I'll say it together. Ha, ha, what? Next letter is a hey, so there's a H, 2 dots, A-Y. Last letter is a final noun. How do you say that?
Hi.
Hain. Uh-huh. So we got haim, and we got hain. Okay. You're not going to remember all this. It's just coming in. It's just information, just familiarizing yourself with it. So it says, please note that these words always come after the noun, and the noun will always have a hey before it. So that's just a rule. But I expect you to remember that? No, you're not going to remember it. The purpose of your lesson today is to familiarize you with the idea that when you say this, it gets singular. When you say these, it's plural. You got to know it's masculine and feminine. And once your brain accepts the they and the zoth, you'll be fine. So what we're going to do here now is this. Your masculine friend, he's single. What's his name?
Zay.
That's right. That's your little homeboy, right? So Zay is the guy. That's your friend. Make Zay your friend. He has a sister. They're twins. What's his sister's name? Zoth. So you feminized her. So they're both this. That's what they both mean. They're from the same family. There's a masculine and feminine. So treat them like twins and call them your friends. One is Zay and one is Zoth. Okay. Does that make sense? Because that's how I remember. I make these words my friend. Okay. And they got some cousins called Ale. All right. So Hahu and Hahi. This is another group of twins. Hahi and Hahu. You hear the hardness in a Hahu? Hahu. You hear that African? Hahu. Hahi. Hahi. Hahu. Hahi. Hahu. Okay. And then you got their cousins, Hahaim and Hahain. Those are masculine cousins, are Hahaim, and the feminine cousins are Hahain. That's who they are. Okay. So again, it tells us to make sure that we just remember that when we look at these words, they come after the noun and they have a hey on the front of it. So it says, let's see some examples. And now here are the examples. So that horse, how do you say that?
Ahu.
How do you say that? On number one, how do you say that?
Ahu.
Hahu. Now they were talking about that horse and it has a hay on the front because they got a match. How do you say that? The horse, that horse. Hasus what? Hasus Hahu. Yeah, there you go. Now we're going to feminize it, and now we're going to make, and it's a singular. Now we're going to feminize it. How do you say the feminine horse? How do you say the feminine horse?
Asusa.
Hasusa. So now that you got the susa, how do we know that it's a feminine?
Lehe.
That hey, that ah on the end, that ah, susa, okay, versus hasus, hahu, hasu, it have to match, okay? So hasusa hahi. Hasusa hahi. Okay. Then I'm going to say for those horses, and it's masculine and it's plural. How do I say that?
Hasusim.
Hasusim what?
Ayam. Ayam.
Hahaim.
Ayam.
Hahaim. Those two dots again is that A sound.
Ayam.
Hahaim.
Tiger, let me here comes the NCAA champion.
I just watched him live.
Yes,
The college track. The white girl. Yeah.
So that's how you do that. Okay. Now, how do you say those mares? How do you say those mares?
Sasus. Zoth.
Yes. So you go like this. You go. Now we know that it's feminine, right?
Mhm.
So what we see is we see a dot inside of that samak right there, right? That means that I got to make two of them. So the first one is going to be has. Okay. Then I'm going to say su. Okay. And then the next one I'm going to go, I was at the top line. Has, su, and then soth. So if you, because it's three syllables, has, su, soth. Has, su, soth. It's three syllables. Hasu, soth. Okay. The one up here is hasusim. Hasu, soth. Hasusim is masculine. And the hahaim is what makes it those. Hahain is what makes it those for feminine. Okay. How do you say that book?
I say fair.
Yep.
Aha.
Hahu.
Ahu.
Hahu. Hey, right? And that's ha. The next one is who. Hey, and then this right here is a oo sound. Hahu. Okay. Ha-hu. Because the aleph is what? Aleph is silent. Silence. And the wa with the dot on the side, it gives it the oo sound. Okay. Hahu. Okay. So hasafer hahu. So safer is masculine. And the reason why we know that and we can check that is because this behind it, that is identifying to you that it is masculine, because hahu is the masculine term for that. Okay. So those books now is plural. Okay. So how do you say book? Well, here it has the books, but hasafarim. So the eem on here makes it what?
Plural.
Plural. Is it masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
It's masculine. Okay. I don't know if you remember or recall, but up at the top they said hahema. Okay. So you would say, well, did that match? Well, remember they said there's an exception. There's a rule that sometimes would allow you to be hahema, even has that I on it. So there's some little exceptions and tricky rules. So you see hahema, and then right up here they tell you that sometimes you will see it. Sometimes you'll see hahema right here. Rarely see it, but they were just trying to see if you and I were paying attention. The mem right here makes it masculine. The noon right here makes it feminine. Okay. Even though it was at the end, it's just one of those exceptions. And they do have some exceptions like that. One that pops in my head is how you say fathers. You guys know how to say father. Father is what? How do you say father? Av, right? So if I want to make it plural, I automatically would think it's a masculine. So I would put an eem on there, avim, but not according to Hebrew. It's called oath, avoth. Those means fathers. That's just one of those exceptions that they put on that rule. I don't know why, but that's what they do. Okay. They'll talk more about that in other books, but let me stay focused. All right. This part of the book and this part of the lesson is going to be pretty exciting, especially after the lesson that we gave today. you're going to find out how important it is and how femininity is connected to literally a lot. And the things that she's connected to is huge. Okay, so let's read this. It says every noun in the Hebrew is masculine or feminine. In English, nouns like a book, a chair, a door, etc., have no gender. We mean by this that they are not masculine, they're not male or female, they're just objects. We also call a book or a chair or a door it and not him or her. But the Hebrew language, however, works differently. Every noun in the Hebrew language, and I'll say it again, every noun is either masculine or feminine. There is no it in Hebrew. It's either a masculine or a feminine. That's why everything that we're talking about is masculine or feminine. There's no transgenders, okay? And so in Hebrew, only him or her. It says we'll come back later and they'll tell us in another book on why that is, right? They don't discuss it right now. They're just letting us know for the sake of the lesson, there is no it. There's only male or female. Once we accept that, we'll be okay, okay? Now it says nouns ending in ah, that vowel point and that hey are usually feminine. They're usually, not always, usually. So we already mentioned on this on page number 3, rule number 4, and there we saw that the words Isha, Susa, and Malka are all feminine nouns because they end with that that we talked about. These words are obviously feminine because they are all describing the female of the species, okay? Like, humanity or an animal, okay? However, now we're learning that all nouns end in are in general feminine. Look at these wonderful nouns that we have here that are all feminine, okay? The reason why a soul, which is a nefesh, okay, a nefeshka, or nefesh, that can be feminine. All the souls are feminine, okay? This is the reason why we need to understand wisdom and understanding and knowledge, because they're all feminine. When Yah describes these things about wisdom, which is kokama, you hear that ah on the end, we have the binah, ah, and we have the dea. You hear that? So wisdom, understanding, and knowledge are all feminine. That's why it's supposed to be part of our who we are. See, our structure of our soul requires femininity because it's feminine. So it has to be dealt with in a feminine way. That's the reason why he mentioned what he mentioned through our Torah portion. Okay, if you keep looking at a person, you would see that it's not masculine, it's feminine. The person is the soul, the nefesh is feminine, okay? So I thought that was really beautiful, and I thought it was interesting, because as a male, a lot of men are like, well, we're taught don't be feminine. Males are feminine by nature, by their soul. It's your gender that brings that masculinity, right? But your soul is feminine. And if your soul is feminine, you need to have wisdom, understanding, and knowledge in order to help support the soul, these are the things that we need. So the nouns ending in the tav are usually feminine when they change the door. So, when they change, not only when they change, you know how they say we move a hey and then you put a tav on it when it's in a construction, but also too, there are nouns that end in a tav as well that are feminine. Like what? Door, deleth, that's feminine. Daughter, bath, feminine. Akoth, that's a sister, feminine. And it told us to be careful with this last word, akoth, because we see that oath on the end, so you would automatically think it's plural. Well, it's not. In the later part of the book, they'll tell you how to say sisters, okay? So this is sister. That's one of those little exceptions, okay? But it says we'll come back later and they'll talk about it. Right now, it's not relevant to talk about. I want to point those things out about the nouns, how they are feminine. So describing a noun with an adjective, we saw this in rule number 3 on page 61, that an adjective has to agree, it has to match, okay, with the noun it's describing. I don't know if you guys remember that, but on page number 63, which is right here, 61, I think it is, 61, using adjectives, okay? When you use an adjective, it has to match. So let's look at these examples. If you're going to say a good man, the good is describing the man. So that is the adjective. So the man is ish, and then the good has to match it. So it'll be ish tov. Okay, matching. If I say that, and it's not in plural, and it is, if it's masculine, then the adjective has to be masculine. If the noun is feminine, the adjective has to be feminine. It has to match. It has to agree. So isha would not be tov. She would be tova, because you're going to put that onto the end of hers, and you got tova. You couldn't say isha tov. You're disrespecting her. You should say isha tova, because you're talking about a woman. So you are feminine. You have to give her her proper respect, like I've been saying. Just like you would never say ish tova. He's a man, so you're supposed to ish tov. A woman, isha tova. Okay. So the on any of these have to match. Okay. When you're dealing in plurality, if I say Akim, which are my brothers right here on the bottom and number 3, the brothers are the noun, right? And then the good is tov, but I would have to max out the same with that. That has to match. So Akim is plural. So as you can see, the plurality of tov would have to be put that same im on there, and I got tovim or tovim, excuse me, tovim. You see, Akim tovim. That's how you would say Akim tovim. I wouldn't say Akim tov, because I'd be talking tov is singular. I'll have to make it plural, just like that. So that's how you match those things up. And so the structure of the language is so perfect that they're not going to allow us to say something that's not true. It's actually going to be the way that it's supposed to. It's going to match. Where did I leave off? Is this it right here? Is that where I left off? Where did I leave off? Right here, I think. Yeah, that's where I left off. Okay, so back to our page. So now they're telling us that this is going to have to agree. So let's look at some examples, okay? Because I'm going to send this paper to you, but let's just look at some examples. So the first example we have here is a book, okay? It's not the book. If it was the book, it would have a what on front of the sefer. What letter?
Ha.
Aha. Be that hey, the letter hey, the ha sound will be right on the front of ha sefer, but it's not. It's a book. So a big book would be what? How would you say that?
That'd be a gadol.
Yep. Sefer gadol. Okay. Okay. How would you say a big chair?
Kusa.
So that right there is a like a hard K sound, right? The next one is a dot, so we know that's an I. And then we got 2 S's. And then I got an A.
Kissa.
Kisse.
Hey, kisse.
Kisse what? Ga, dol. So when you get your vocabulary, you're like, oh, I know what gadol is. That's great. Or big. Okay. Yeah, kisse is a chair. Okay. Kisse, safer gadol. Kisse gadol. How do you say a door? A great door. A big door. Yep. Delith, ga, dol, what?
La.
Gadola. Why is it gadola?
Feminine.
Because it's feminine. So you have to show the proper description. If you're going to put an adjective on it, it has to match. If this is a feminine noun, then this has to be a feminine adjective. If it's plural, got to be plural. If it's singular, it has to be singular. It's always going to be, you guys, masculine and feminine. It's either going to be singular, okay, or plural. It's going to be one of those two. That's what makes it easier. So land is feminine. So who wants to give a shot at saying, so the big lands will be, who wants to do that?
Is it ha arezzo?
Ha'aratzoth. Yes. And how do you say the next one?
Hagadolo.
There you go. Hagadoloth. Good. Congratulations. So ha'aratzoth, hagadoloth. Okay. Hagadoloth. Right. So hagadoloth. So ha'aratzoth, hagadoloth. And now sometimes your tongue is going to get a little twisted because we're not used to saying these words, and you just have to get used to them. And the more you say it and you practice it, the better off you'll be able to pronounce it. So in my case, if I didn't know how to say this, I would actually take my time. I would sing it. I would go, ha, till I couldn't say it no more. Ha'aratzoth. Let me see. Ha'aratzoth. Haga. Doloth. Okay. Ha'aratzoth, hagadoloth. Ha'aratzoth, hagadoloth. And then you just keep saying it over and over and over again. But for now, we're not concerned only how you say it. We just want you to break the pieces down. We know that this right here is aretz. So that's land. We know this is the, and then here is plural. So I know is lands. Then I know this is ha, that's the, and then gadol is great. And then there's a plurality of it to match this. See, that's all it is. It's putting your pieces together. So just as we've seen, that Sefer is a book, is a masculine noun. So if so, how would you say the book fell? The book fell. How would you say that? If since Sefer is masculine, we have to say the book. Okay. There it is. Say it.
Hakise.
Right here. The book right here.
Okay. Yeah.
How you say it?
Sefer.
Fair.
Yeah, ha-sefer, right? Ha-sefer. Nah. Put it in your mind. And the next one, a
Nah.
P-H-A-L. Huh?
Oh,
Nafal. Ha-sefer, nafal. Okay? That's singular. Okay? Nafal by itself means he fell. Remember, if it's a 3-letter root, it's perfect. This right here is a verb. Okay? But we're talking about the book. The is this. Book is safer. And then it says he. Because there's nothing in front of it. It's perfect. And then he fell. Remember, it's not an it because in Hebrew, there is no it. It's only masculine or feminine. And that's how we will be able to understand our verbs. And that's how we'll be able to understand our nouns if we stick to the rule of there being masculine and feminine. So how would you say the door fell? Because the door is deleth, and we learned above that it's feminine, right? Because it ends in a tav. So how would you say the door she fell? How would you say she fell? Right here. How do you say she fell?
Nafala.
Nah. Next one. Fa. La. Nafala. 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 Okay, sounds like nafal, but now it's nafala. It became feminine because they put the a on the end of nafal. So it's nafala. Okay, nafal, nafala. Ha delith. Ha, the, delith, door, nafala. She, the la, and then here's the nafal right there, fell. The door, she fell. Okay. So just like we learned on page 61 that adjectives have to agree with the noun, so also is the rule with the verbs. The verbs have the exact same rule. Everything has to agree. The verb always has to agree with the noun. That's very important to understand. Adjectives have to agree with the noun. Verbs have to agree with the noun. So now I'm going to show you something even more beautiful. It says, so nouns and verbs and adjectives in one sentence. So let's see some examples of using nouns, verbs, and adjectives all in one sentence. So the sentence is, the Holy Torah, she said. So if you and I didn't know this, again, I always go back to how beautiful it is to have the femininity, because the Torah itself is feminine. The Torah itself is feminine because it has that ah on the end. Okay, so the ha is the Torah right here, but it's being described by kadosh. They got holy there, but we know that's not it. Hakwadosha, not hakwadosh, hakwadosha. Why is it hakwadosha? Tell me why it's sha on the end.
It's feminine.
It's feminine, and she has to match the what? She has to match the noun. So haTorah, hakwadosha, amara. She said. So when the Torah is talking to us, it's feminine. Didn't know that, did we? The Torah is feminine. So is the Torah good for the nefesh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do you see why the Torah gives you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding?
Yes.
Binah, chokmah, and da'ah. They're all feminine. Those in my class today was like, man, you sound like y'all's being hard on women. No, he's not. He's telling you straight up, I told you. If anything, a woman, he said a man needs a helper. Now, do you understand why he chose a woman to be the helper of a man? Because she's a representative of everything that he's ever made feminine, like the Torah. You think he just mentioned a woman just to say that she's a whore or prostitute? He said any woman that doesn't have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is a whore. Any soul that's feminine that doesn't have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Torah is a whore. You can't be nothing but a whore if you don't have this. So that's why the soul of us is feminine, because Yahweh is trying to correct and make sure that his woman is lining up with the instructions. See? So ladies, you guys got great power, great authority. You just don't know it. Since the word Torah, you probably know it. You guys have just been suppressed and oppressed and all kind of stuff. So you really ain't had a chance to really shine. Okay. Since the word Torah is feminine, it ends in the ah. When we describe it with the adjective kwadosh, that kwadosh has to take on a feminine form. It has to change. Okay. So that's the kwadosha. Okay. So now when we add the verb into the sentence, the Holy Torah said, meaning she said, since the word Torah is feminine, the verb has to also be feminine. And the verb of is saying means that amorah. Amar by itself, as one of our vocabulary words, is masculine. The moment they put that ah on there, it makes it feminine. She said, and it is what? Is that, just to see if you guys remember, is this perfect or imperfect?
Imperfect, 4 letters.
Remember, Amar is perfect by itself without anything added. That means he said. All because I add a hey on the end of this doesn't mean that it becomes imperfect. Oh, this is tripping. This is something I had to wrap my mind around. Oh man, let me forgive me, guys. The screen was on me. All right, let's check this out. If I took away this right now, it's just Amar. That means he said, past tense. Past tense means perfect. The moment I put that hey on the end of that in particular verb, it just feminized it. And it means she said is still perfect. Because Amar by itself is perfect. Amara means that she said it. It's perfect now too. We just feminized it. We didn't add a letter to the front of it. If I put a letter like a tav in front of it, it would become imperfect because it's in a future tense, it's not complete. See? So that's kind of a little tricky thing that you got to remember. Okay. So anything like shamar. Okay. Shamar means what? He guarded. Thank you. He guarded. So I put that shamara on there. That means she guarded. It's still perfect. See? Any three letter, and I'll say it and I'll keep saying it over and over again, so don't worry about it. Any three letter root that's by itself, 3 letters, with nothing added to the front and nothing added to the back is perfect. And all because I changed it from a masculine and I changed it to a feminine by putting a hey on it. I did not change the tense. I just gave it the respect it deserved because she's the one who said it now. See? So even though I added that hey on the end to feminize it, doesn't mean that I've added like a tav with a yod, meaning I said, or I didn't put a new on the end of it, meaning we said. Okay. I didn't put anything like that. So even though it's a 3 letter, it's perfect. Somebody got a question? Because I want you to ask questions. Do you guys understand that? And if you don't worry about it. We'll continue to go over it. It's all part of it. You'll get it. So somebody read that last word here, this one here. Somebody read that just for the sake of us closing out this thing right here. Read this.
HaTorah,
HaTorah.
Hak, Hapa Dosha, Dosha, Adara.
Amara.
I'm sorry, Amara.
Yeah, that's a resh. Thank you. Good. HaTorah, Hakwadosha, Amara. Do you hear that ah in there? You hear that Torah, that Hakwadosha, that Amara, all that ah. You know it's feminine. So listen for those sounds. Good job. HaTorah, Hakwadosha, Amara. Perfect. So what did we learn? We learned that what? The noun is being described by this adjective, and then it has the verb. Do they all agree? Yes or no?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what is the common denominator between all of these nouns and adjectives and verbs? What makes them all agree?
They're all feminine.
Yes, and that form is described by what?
The ah at the end.
Thank you. Right here. It's right here. It's right here. And it's right here. Okay. So if they took this off of there, it wouldn't agree. You'd be like, no, that don't make no sense. Okay. If you took the ah off of this, a kodosh, and I said HaTorah, and it's an ah right here, and it's HaKodosh, you'd be like, no, it's HaTorah, HaKodosha, because you're talking about a feminine noun. So the feminine noun must always match the adjective. And if it's singular, then that has to be singular. If it's plural, it has to be plural. You understand? Good job, you guys. You guys are growing. Okay. Growing. I'm so proud of you guys because you guys are coming right along and you're sticking with it, which is great because it gets easier. It does. Because your brain is like already fried. So you're worried about it. And we kind of got over that. All right. So this other example that we have here is called the big books fail. Okay. So somebody tell me, how do you say the big?
Hakano.
Yes, hagadol what? Don't forget your ending.
M.
Hagadolim. That's right. Okay. And so how do you say the books?
Hasefer.
Rim.
Hasafer what?
Yeah.
Put these together. Hasaferim. See, look, let me show you. There's a rule that says if you got a long vowel like this, you can only say this by itself. If it was just a line, like a little, if it was just a dash like this, then you would say it together, but it's not. So right here, when I look at this and I see this, I say, okay, that's a short vowel. So, and this has a dot in it. So I'm going to make a H and an A and an S. That's Has. And then I got another S. That's right there. And a what they call a schwa underneath. So that's a quick So that's Hasa. Hasa what? Then I see the next one is called what? My next one is a PH. That's the letter right here. Doesn't have a dot in it, so it's not a hard P sound. I should have got you a different color. Forgive me. A PH sound. That's what this letter right here is. It's a pay, but it doesn't have a dot in it. So if it had a dot in it, like this, then it would be a hard P sound, but it's not. So it's a PH sound, fa. Okay, so I go hasa, f, and then I got the ah, which is right here. So I put that on, it's a long vowel, hasa, fa, and then I got this left, which is rim, R-I-M. Hasa, fa, rim. Hasa, fa, rim. Okay, but when I look at it, right, I know how to pronunciate it. That's great. But I also know how to chop it down. This is the book, and that's books. That's my plurality. This is my noun, and this is my direct object marker, which is the. Okay, so the books. Okay, but now I got to describe those books. So if I'm a plural ending on male, I'm gonna have to make sure that it's the same over here. So now my adjective will be to match. It'd be ha, the safer, godol, and then the im. So hagodolim, hasafarim, hagodolim. You see how that matches? If I said hasafarim, hagodol, it would make sense. It has to be hasafarim, hagodolim. Okay. Now that I've described that, now I'm going to describe the verb. Well, what's the verb? What's the verb here?
Fail.
Yes, which is the noun, which is na, right? And then we got the PH because it doesn't have a dot in it. And then I got an L, and then I got a U, okay, which is this sound here. So nafalu, not naflu, nafalu, na, okay, you could put that, na, and then fa, and then lu. Nafalu, nafalu, nafalu. Okay, so I know nafal from my vocabulary tells me means to fail, or he fell by itself. But there's this ending that they put on the end. It tells me that it has to do with plurality, meaning they, because I know my pieces to my puzzle. They fell. What fell? The plurality of the books. They fell. That's where you get they from, because you're talking about books, plurality. So my verb actually have to be plural as well. So everything in here is plural. Okay, everything is here plural. That's plural, that's plural, that's plural. That's masculine, that's masculine. And just by this being by itself, I know it's masculine. It all matches up together. Okay, you don't need to put a hey on the end on a verb. Okay, you don't put a hey, you'll never find a hey on a verb. Unless, listen to me carefully, unless you're describing how that action is being done. That's a whole nother book. That's out of our blue book. The book that you're in right now is called the gold book. So in the gold book, there is no hays put on the verbs. when you get into the blue book, there's H's that are put there to let you know how something is being done. And that's a whole nother lesson. So now you're learning how about to deal with nouns and a little bit about verbs. Okay. Great job. All right. So it breaks that down for us. So that's how you break that down. And then it goes on to say the same thing. The big doors will fall. Again, the hagalathos, the hagadolos, slow your tongue down. Tipolna, okay? Tipolna, meaning that they will fall. So delith is the feminine of the door, but now that it's plurality of the doors, we know that it takes a feminine ending. So based on the feminine ending in this word, what's the feminine ending of delith? What's the feminine ending? What's the piece that tells you that it's feminine?
Oath.
There you go. And so we know that's feminine. We know that's plural. Then we got the door. So we got the door by itself feminine. Then it made it doors. See? And then how for gadol is by itself, meaning great, right? And big. So now if I got an oath on the door, I need to put an oath on the adjective so it can match. These can match now. So it all harmonizes together. You understand? That's how those examples are. So when I send this over to you, you can review that as well. Okay. Rule number 18. Negatives in Hebrew. The negatives are used to negate the verb. So for example, in the Hebrew, you're going to see this word called lo. Okay. Or all. Okay. So sometimes we see the aleph and it might have 2 dots. That's el. It's totally different. You got one with 3 dots, totally different. So pronunciations is what we're looking for. So we know el means 2 or 4. Okay, we know el here. El mean Elohim. Okay, what they have as God, which we don't say is power. Okay, then you also have, listen, then you have now the all. Okay, and all here means no or not. Okay, so we're going to look at that as well. So you can see that pronunciations have a lot to do how you think of stuff. Lo also means no or will not, right? Lo right here is the one that we're studying, but there's also one called lo this way. It's a lamed with a dot over the top called lo. Okay, this is a preposition. It means to or for, and then our ending that you studied means him. So to or for him, lo means to him, right here. But a lamed with an aleph, that's a negation. Okay, that's a negation. It's the opposite of something happening. So for example, in our cultural sense, we know that el, okay, or the aleph in the lamed, aleph is strength or strong, right? And then this is a lamed. I know we're in grammar, but I'm going to show you the cultural so you can really put the pieces together. So the lamed right here, you won't forget, is a staff, and it means to direct or learn, but it also means authority. So it means a strong authority. Okay, to push somebody towards somewhere. That's why it's used for el. That's why it's used for Elohim. That's why it's used for that. Now what they've done is in our Hebrew, the creator has reversed the letters. He's reversed it. So if it's strength and authority here, what he's saying there now is I'm going to take away and I'm going to reverse. If I reverse the letters, that means I reverse the power of it. When I reverse the power of it, I negate the power of the staff now. The strength needs, if it's strong, the aleph will be before the lamed. If it's not strong, I'm going to put the aleph after the lamed to let you know that it is not going to be strong and it's not going to be able to do what it's supposed to be doing. So this is the reason why they use it as a negative. It's negative because in the initial power in it is this way. So as soon as we switch it to this, it's negative. Okay. And how do you pronounce it? Is lo, and lo means no. So here's some examples. So when I look at things, you guys, I look at the agriculture, I look at the, the staff, the strength, the bull, I look at all that kind of stuff. So I can make sense of it, because remember, they're only telling you what they know from a grammatical standpoint. They're not really telling you the inside on it. They don't let you know that. They don't let you know that, okay? They don't really break it down. So we had our word, again, Amar, and Amar means he said, which is past tense. When you look at words, you got to look at it, what it means. He. Now it says lo, Amar. He did not say. So the lo negates the verb. It tells the verb it's not going to happen. So he did not say. How do you say this? It's a yo, which is Y, got a dot O. What is it?
Yomar.
Yomar. Yomar. That means, tell me what part of that word is he?
Yo.
Yod. Thank you. Why is it will?
It's implied.
Well, it's will because the letter, you got a past, you got a present, and you got a future. If there's a letter that's put on the front of a verb, a 3-letter verb, that is in the future tense. It will happen. This means will in the future. This over here is the past. That's why they put the letters on the end of a verb. So if I put amarti right here, that means that I said past tense, okay? What gets confusing is when you said he said, because you're looking for a letter, but by itself, it's always going to be he. If I put the I on the end of it, that means she said. It's still perfect. The moment that I add another letter to it, okay, then I would either make it past, present, or future, depending on where I'm going to put that letter at. So since this letter is right here, it's he, the will, that means he will, because this letter is added to the front of that verb, that 3-letter root. Okay. And because I'm going to say lo, that is he right here will not. See, the will is the future tense. This right here means he will. Just remember that. He will, because it's added to the front. The say part is right here. The not part is right there. That's what it means, not. Okay. From a biblical Hebrew perspective, the word lo means absolutely never. So every time Yah says in the Torah, like lo tanaf or lo this or lo malaka, absolute mean from here on, because you could tell somebody not to do something for a period of time. But when Yah said lo, he means never. Ever in the time that you exist on the earth. And it means even after you leave the earth, it's still going to be low. It's still going to be no. That's why the Shabbat is so important. Because if you stay within the guidelines, Yah says you should never do this. You should never murder. You shall never commit adultery. And the moment that you and I step out of that, we're going to have to bear the consequences. That's what he's trying to let us know. He set the terms and the rules on not only the language, but on our life. But if we don't know the language, you don't know what lo means. You think it just means no, not now, until you get, in a bad situation or something pops up or somebody makes you angry. Then you go against Yah. Yah saying no. Lo, he's saying lo. That's never going to happen. Okay. Or if it did, you got to understand you're going to pay some consequences. You're going to pay. Okay. A lot of people don't like that, but it's the truth. Okay. Here's an example of I sent. Is that past, present, or future?
Present. No, past.
Past. Why is it past? From a grammatical standpoint, why is it past? From the locations of the letters, how do you know that it's in the past?
The yod and the dot.
Yes. So for example, when you look at this, I want you to evaluate now. When you look at this first word here, this one here, okay, it's called shalakti. Okay. If we know that a Hebrew root can consist of if it's perfect, how many letters do you need to put on it? How many roots, how many letters do you need to have a perfect root?
3.
3. So we're going to look for the first 3 letters. Look for the root. Here it is. This is one of your vocabulary words, is shalak. Okay. Now that we have the T on the end of it, this right here, this is added. Okay. They added this, and this is in the past. Anytime a letter's added to the end of a root, it's in the past. If that something's added in the middle right here, it'd be in the present. If they add something to the front right here, it would be in the future. So past, present, and future play a role in our understanding of the language. So you'll know if something was done or if it's completed, because in Hebrew, it can only be one or the 2 things. Either something has happened or it hasn't happened. And in between those 2, being complete and incomplete, is the idea of something to be completed, meaning that is in the present tense if you are currently doing it. But something that's finished is in the past. Something that's in the future will be, will happen. Okay. So you look for your root. So this low right here means what?
No, did not.
That means did not. Okay. Shalakti. I did not sin. So shalakti is I sent. If I want to negate that and reverse it, all I do is put the low on it and it will reverse what I just said. So shalakti, and this is low shalakti. I did not sin. So you see how you could go from a past to reversing it by simply adding one word, low. Shalakti means I sinned. Lo shalakti, I did not sin. That's simple. Okay. Underneath there's another example. What do you got? Somebody tell me I will sin. How do you say that? Come on. You got it. You said it.
Ishlach.
Esh. L-A-C-H. Eshlach. Eshlach. Okay. So we know shalak means to sin. Now, putting the aleph on the front of it, it's a future tense, meaning I will. So if you notice, when you got something in the front of a word for I, it's an aleph. You know, something on the back of I is a tav. Right? So aleph is the first letter in the Hebrew language. That's the beginning, right? The tav is at the end. That's the reason why they're using the tav at the end, to let you know it's over. You see, eshlach means I will sin. And the I will right here is the what? What letter is the I will? What letter? The aleph is the I will. Okay. Up here, I sent. What's the I?
The yod.
The yod and the tav. Don't forget that, because the t is the ending here. If you look at your chart, I think it's on page number 16, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now, I don't want to say I will not sin. So what is that? How do I say that?
Lo Ishlach.
Lo eshlach. See? Good job. I will not. That not right there is the low. I will is the here. And the shalak is the sin. So I'm teaching you how not to just to say the word, but how to break it down so you can understand it. Okay. And here we go. We already did that one. Okay. Now here's something that is the all. Okay. So the word all is used to put a verb into the negative. It's also put in, I can't see this right quick. It's also put in front of a verb. Okay. However, all is only used. This is the rule. The all is only used in the future tense. So they never use it for any other time. They only use it for a future tense. Something you may remember is something you may not remember. You might remember it and miss a rule, but you'll know off the top it means no, not. Okay. So let's talk about it since it is in a future tense. So I'm going to point to something and you tell me what it is. I'm going to do this letter and you tell me what letter is that in this one over here, what represents that? Since it's a future tense, because future tense means that the letter is in the future, meaning it's in the front. So what letter is used to tell us that it's in the future?
K.
Yes, perfect. Okay. There's masculine, plural. So what is telling me that it's plural? What letter over here in this box is telling me that it's plural?
The U.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so what we have left, we got rid of that. That's you. We got rid of that. That's plurality. Now we got Shafak. Okay. You got the little N on the cough like this, but if it didn't have that in there, if it wasn't inside of this word with another letter on the end, it would have been a final cough like that. It'd be Shafak. Shafak. That's what it would be. And Shafak means to spill. Okay. That's what it means. Will spill. Will means future. Perfect. Good job. So when I put that all on it, since it's in a future tense, and that's the only time that I can use it. It's the only time. This is you. Look at this. You will not spill. Okay. You will not spill. Okay. You will say. This is future tense. So what part of this is you?
The T.
The tav. Yes. And where's the tav at? Is it in the front, the middle, or the end?
Front.
If it's in the front, it's in the what? Past, present, and future.
Future.
So it's not just you, it's you will. Check this out. Remember they told you, said, well, we want to know what God's will is for our life. That word will means will. It means future. You know, how you talk about what's my will? What am I, you know, this is all wordplay. The word will means to be. So when I say I will do something, I'm putting action behind it. You understand? Like after you die, they give you a will. Okay. Yah's name means I will be who I will be. So will is huge. And so will is always in the future because it hasn't happened yet. It's always in the future. Okay. Always for us. Okay. So how do you say you will not say?
LTMR.
So all, and if I wrote it out like that, and I will go to mar. All tomar. Tomar. All tomar. Okay. All tomar. Okay. That means not, you will not say. So meaning in English, don't say it. Okay. Perfect. So you guys getting a point where the beginning, ending, middle, past, present, and future, masculine, feminine, those are things that we really weren't taught in school. Like, you know, they did give a class, but we weren't really paying attention, or at least I wasn't. So that's the class today. The summary I'm going to send over to you. The summary pages, go over the summary because it gives you everything that you've learned up to this point. And it actually, which is awesome, gives you all the pages to let you know where you can find it. If you don't have it, ask me and I'll send you a copy of it. Okay. So it gives you all the rules. And there again, here's all the extra rules that you've been learning. Look at all the stuff that you've learned so far. Look at this. You've learned a lot. Okay. You've learned a lot. Now you're on lesson number 8. You finished that. This is going to be your lesson exercise for this. And I'm going to throw in, there's a lesson. Yeah, it's lesson number 8. I'm going to throw in the answers. Okay. On that. Because now this lesson is primarily dealing with what? Translating the following sentences into English. So, question. The first word I have is amaru. I need the summary page with the answers. You got it.
Late coming.
Yes. So
would-
amaru. So what's the root?
Amar.
Thank you. The u on it means what?
Plurality.
Yeah, plurality meaning they. Okay. We know that amar is masculine. So this ending right here is like they. It could be masculine. It includes everybody they. Okay. If you got one female and a whole bunch of males, it's still amaru. All right. Good job. So you saw that. All right. Is it past, present, and future?
Past.
Past, because there's something added to the end of that root. Perfect. The next word is what?
Call.
Call.
Call. And what does call mean?
All.
All. Call, make it all. Okay. And we know the agricultural term, the palm of the hand and the staff, meaning to tame. So what we learn right now is amaru, and they said all. Okay. Meaning all, meaning they're ready to give everything. The next word is called ha-am. What does ha mean?
The
Yes. And am is what?
mother.
People. Aim is mother. Am is people. So all the people, buffet. Ba is a tent, and it means to go in or with. And the pay is what? What part of your body is the pay?
Mouth.
Your mouth. So all the people, they said all the people in their mouth, okay, or with their mouth, okay, akkad. The akkad right here is described. What does akkad mean?
One.
One. So they all said with one what? One mouth. All the people said with one mouth. They said all the people with one mouth. And the wa right there means what?
And.
And so now we're going to tell us what else did they do. So they all said it with one mouth. And with, that's a bet because that's a tent. Lave, the lave is what? Sounds like love. What is it?
Heart.
Your heart, which is your mind in Hebrew, with all their heart. Okay. The akkad is describing what type of heart or what type of mind. Okay. Because they didn't say this with their little heart with the ventricles and all this kind of stuff and the aorta valves. They didn't say that with that. They said it with this. Okay. So again, they said all the people with one mouth and with one heart, mind, and they put parentheses here to let you know what did they say. Guess what they said? Somebody tell me what they said. Where's the first word?
All.
All, and then a share means that or which. That. Yod is he. Spoke or has spoken. Okay. Here they put this, but that really means Yahweh because they don't say his name. The noon on the front of this is we. Said if he will make or he will do, we will, because the will here is we will, because it's on the front if it's a future tense, will, and we will shema. We will obey and we will listen. we will obey. So if you translate this in English, it'll be, and they said all the people with one mouth and with one heart. This is what they said. All that he has spoken, Yahweh, we will do and we will obey. Amaru kol ha'am, the bafei di akad, the ulelev, the akad, kol asher yada ber Yahweh, the na'aseh the wa nishma. You see? So you go through and you chop it down. So when you get this lesson, I want you to take a separate piece of paper and I want you to go back in your lessons and find the roots and then find out what the word is. And before you put your pieces together, you'd be like, oh, I know what that is. Okay. So let's see who's quick. Now we're going to play a game right quick. Here's the game. Tell me what this says. Whoever gets it first, let's say it.
All people.
All the people. Congratulations. Okay. Right. So that's good. Now, what do we have? The next word is called halaku. Okay. But remember, I told you it can be confusing because we're looking for a 3-letter root. If you know your vocabulary, you know halak is a word by itself, and then the u is they. And halak means walk or went. So all the people, they went, and then we got the lamed. What's the lamed by itself mean? Because that's a preposition.
Of or to.
2 or 4, and har is what? What's har? So they went to lahar. What's lahar? They went somewhere. Where did they go? If you don't know where they went, look at the next word and spell it out. Sinai.
Sinai.
Har Sinai. So what's har?
Mount.
A mountain. So it's you see, you putting the pieces together. So call ha'am, the halaku, the lahar, the Sinai, and wa ra'u. The raba'u. If you've done your lesson, you know that we got some weak verbs. So we know that your are has to do with seeing. So we says, and they saw, what did they see when they went to Har Sinai? Figure it out. What is this next word?
Smoke and fire.
It's Aish. Yes. So they saw Aish, and Aish is fire. Sounds like ash, but it's Aish. And what kind of fire was it?
Gadola.
Gadola. And you know, Gadol means big, but we got Gadola. So is it masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
So what's fire?
Feminine fire.
You better hear me. You better hear what Yah's telling us. If I'm gonna put some fire on you, it's gonna put some on your soul. You understand me? When he says fire, you guys, we thought, well, that's just fire. No. What's the Torah?
Feminine.
That Torah is feminine and it's fire. You hear what I'm saying to you? It's light. Light is not just light is fire. It's the sun with fire. That's how you get your light. He lets you recognize it. The sun is one big ball of what?
Fire.
Fire. So if Yah's going to judge the world, he's judging her with fire, with Eish Godola. That's what they saw. They saw Eish Godola, and they saw it all. And so now you see something that's different than the Aleph. You see the word all up here, not the Aleph in the Lamed, because that means not. You see in future tense. So you got to know your words. So this means upon. This is a preposition. They saw it upon the Rosh. What's the Rosh? Sounds like Resh. Resh is a letter, but what's the Rosh?
The head.
The head. So they saw the head is at the what? The top. The top of what? The Hahar. What's the Hahar? The
Mount.
mountain. So read this. All the people, Halaku, the Lahar, the Sinai, the Wa, Ra'u, Esha Godola, all the Rosh Hahar. See, it sounds wonderful, but if you don't know what you're saying, we know what we're saying. All the people, they went to the mountain of Sinai and they saw Ra'u. They Ra'u Eish Godola. They saw a great fire upon all Rosh, the top of Hahar. See? You guys can do this. I'm just trying to show you that that's how simple it is. And this letter right here, that Yod means what?
He.
He. And he, what did he do?
Say.
He said, and who said it? Next word. Who said this verb?
Moshe.
Moshe.
Moshe. And in your words today, you learned what Zay is. What's Zay? It's not Zoth, it's Zay.
This.
Zay Hadaber. This is, listen, this is the Ha-Davar. Like your word, Davar or Davarim in the book of Davarim. The word which commanded Yahweh. See? Number 4. Wazoth, masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
Feminine. And this is the Ha what?
Torah.
The Ha Torah Asher, meaning that set Moshe Lifnei B'nai Yisrael. What's the B'nai of Yisrael?
Sons.
The sons of Yisrael. Hallelujah. See, and that's in, they got Dovorim. We know it's not no Dovo. It's Davar. They trying to change it up on us. Scratch that. See, so those are the sons of Israel. So remember our study about the B'nai Israel. The reason why these 2 dots in a yod is telling that it's in a semi-coup form because we got 2 nouns that are next to each other. So automatically, when you got 2 nouns, the construction on that is the blank of blank. So the sons of Yisrael. See? And the lifnei means before their faces. Moshe set this HaTorah before them. He presented it to them. Lifnei, the HaTorah. He set her in front of them. And they said to her, I will do everything. Yah spoke the Torah. You see? It's deep, isn't it? Last one, I'll let you go after this because it says, Wayikra, Wa means and Yeh means he, Kara. Kara means what? To proclaim. What and who proclaimed it?
Moshe.
Moshe. To who? Lakal means what? To what?
All.
To all who?
Sons.
The sons of who?
Israel.
Yes. You got that right. What else? Oh, what else we got? And he said to them, Lahaim. See? That's all. It's not going to give you a complete sentence, but that's how it is. You see? So when you look at these sentences and you look at these words, all, tikravu, okay, they did not draw near because karav means to come near, and they, the u on them is they. Okay, you will not come to the hahar. Why won't you come to the mountain? The hatov. You see the hatov, the hahar. So is the hahar, is that masculine or feminine? Based on what we learned today. right here. This is an adjective that's describing this noun. It's ha-tov. If it was feminine, it'd be ha-tova. Since it's not feminine, it's ha-har. And that means that a mountain is masculine. See? So ha-har, ha-tov. That wahakwadosh. Now we know for sure. And the holiness. Okay? The set apartness. Is it hakwadosha? No. So again, we got proof that ha-har is masculine. Bayom hazeh. Oh, wow. Now we know bayom hazeh. Well, you're looking for the yo. It is right here. I mean, the hey, it's right here. That's another lesson. It's letting us know that the day, again, is masculine. See? Bayom hazeh. Ki kolish the ra the asher lo. The yishma welo the yishmor the et the bar yawa the yamuth. Meaning that for all the men are evil that or which not listen, that he will not listen, and not will listen, because that's a low yishmor. He will not listen to what? The S directed to what? The davar of Yahweh will die. So you want to see how the people are using this is our language out of the Torah. They're using actual Torah to tell us what is being spoken. So when you read the Torah, you'd be like, oh, I know what he's talking about. I know exactly what he's talking about. Not just so I can read it in Hebrew. I'm not doing it so I can just read it in Hebrew, folks. I'm doing it so I can find out what this stuff means. That's all. So like today, we learned. We learned. And by the way, guess who else has a feminine soul?
The Ish.
The Ish does, but guess who gave it to him? The Creator has a feminine soul. That's where it came from. Yes. He says, you guys are vexing my soul. He has a nefesh. He wouldn't be able to give us one. He says he has a soul. That's deep and that's heavy because it changes our understanding of like who we're dealing with. Okay. So the language brings us to a higher level of understanding and wisdom and knowledge. Okay. And it brings us to a place where we can understand what he's saying, and he'll put all these different pieces together. Now that we know that fire is feminine, we know that the wisdom is feminine, we know that the Torah is feminine, all these things will start making sense because it all applies to the femininity of who we really are. We're a soul, you see? So that's what it is. Very powerful. Very, very powerful stuff. Any questions? Any comments?